Earlier this year, I reviewed the 2025 Mazda CX-30 Turbo, and it landed on my spreadsheet as a solid buy. A little pricey for what it offered, and for me, it's a little small. Some people aren't as big as me. I get it, and you fit like a glove in there. That's perfect. Has a pretty nice interior, and it's fun to drive for its class. Thank God it doesn't have a CVT either. Now, a couple days ago, Mazda just dropped the CX-50's pricing pretty much throughout the lineup, except the hybrids got a little bit more expensive, but the turbo models got a little bit less expensive. The gasoline models got less expensive. And some of you guys were saying that the price drops on the CX-50 could be in preparation for Mazda to kill off the CX-30 altogether. Well, I'm here to tell you that wasn't the case at all. I do have pricing and packaging and updates for the 2026 CX-30. It is mostly made in Mexico. Some of them are brought in from Japan still, and that complicates things with the pricing of this vehicle, where the CX-50 was made in the United States. If you guys are excited for a little CX-30 deep dive here and compare it to the CX-50, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Remember, new Mazda CX-5 launches early 2026, 100% made in Japan. And I will drive that vehicle and give you guys my hands-on impressions as soon as I possibly can. This is about its little brother, the CX-30. What is going on with this vehicle? Well, we have new Aire Editions. That's how I'm saying it. It could be Aire. I don't know. I haven't heard it, but let me know what you guys think. New Aire Editions, like Air Jordan. I don't think it's going to have the Air Jordan logo, but since it has an E on the end, it's a little bit more upscale maybe than Air Jordan. I don't know. Jordans are awfully expensive. So we have distinctive black emblems here on the Aire Editions. Isn't this interesting? Because yesterday when we covered the CX-50, it's like Mazda said, hey, we're going to give it some black emblems too, but that's for the Meridian edition. So we have Aire for the CX-30, Meridian for the CX-50. All right. Could it be confusing? I don't know. Oh, and don't forget the carbon editions too. All right. And anniversary editions of like the MX-5. So Mazda's got a lot of editions going on right now. So we have a larger 10.25-inch center screen with touchscreen functionality for Apple CarPlay, and thank God for me, Android Auto, because I have a Pixel. All right, and it's newly available on select 2.5S models. It is not standard. Okay, Abe's leaving with Mama. He just wanted to say hello and goodbye. He's looking at himself on the monitor right now. Don't look so happy. Okay, and the CX-30 is a starting MSRP of $25,975. And that is an increase. Again, we'll break down year-over-year pricing. Yes, I added to this spreadsheet that I made yesterday, so we'll go over that here in a little bit. Remember, the CX-30, no CVT, thankfully, and it has all-wheel drive standard. You can't get these things in front-wheel drive to reduce the price because affordability is becoming more and more difficult in today's market, and not having a front-wheel drive option can make for some difficulty. However, this powertrain, 6-speed auto, 186 horsepower, fantastic. The only powertrain that can give this a run of its money is the Corolla Cross Hybrid that has about 196 horsepower and about 40 miles per gallon. You're not going to be able to get that sort of fuel economy here on the CX-30. New for 2026, CX-30 adopts limited slip differential through the brakes, all right, to help improve traction stability, as well as updated dampers to help improve ride comfort. Okay, I already thought it rode pretty fine for the class, so that's great. And this LSD through the braking reminds me of what they do in the Miata, for example. So a little bit of the Miata being baked into this. Radar cruise control is standard here with stop and go. You have smart brake, high beam, lane departure warning, blind spot monitors also standard here. That's nice. All right, so the base model comes with an 8.8-inch screen, and it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I don't know if it's wireless. It doesn't say wireless, so I'm assuming it's wired only. And again, it's not going to be touch more than likely it's going to be through the rotary dial, which can be a bit frustrating. You have dual USB-C inputs on here, 7-inch LCD MID behind the steering wheel on the dash, 16-inch wheels are standard here. New for the Select Sport for 2025 is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and 8-way power adjustable driver's seat with 2-position memory. Wow, memory is standard on the Select Sport. That's pretty crazy. You also have heated seats on this model, Alexa, but no one really cares. You also have leather-wrapped steering wheel on this grade. That's like a must for me. Advanced keyless entry, probably also a must for me. A rear air conditioning vents, also a must for me with having little kids in the back seat. And you also privacy glass here. So this Select Sport model is going to be probably the volume seller. I will go ahead and said that. Also, it has a ceramic metallic paint. Don't know what that's about, but there you go. If you want the big screen, the new shiny 10.25-inch screen, you have to get the preferred trim, which now gives you functionality for a touchscreen. Again, previously we did not have a touchscreen, just a rotary dial with the smaller 8.8-inch screen. You also get parking sensors on the preferred. You get 18-inch wheels, moonroof, wireless phone charger, rear cross traffic alert, that sort of thing. What I am most curious about is this new Aire Edition, which you can get on the Turbo 2. Okay, so it takes all those fancy things you get on the preferred package. Similar to CX-50 models, we get gloss black badges, and including the Mazda logo and the CX-30 name, not a big deal, along with 18-inch black metallic aluminum alloy wheels and black roof rails and side mirrors. The Aire Edition has an active yet modern vibe. The unique interior features light colors to help create a feeling of spaciousness. That's nice. Most notably with the white leatherette seats and gray cloth inserts. I really want to see this interior. I don't think I have pictures right now, but it's just unfortunate that I don't, because I'm sure I would love what it sounds lovely. Anyways, the interior feels modern with quality materials such as gray suede interior trims and light gray stitching throughout. You can still get the Carbon Edition, which gives you the Bose sound system, for example. And then you have the top premium, which gives you, a 360 camera, head-up display, adaptive front lights, power liftgate, true leather seats. You still don't have ventilated seats on the top trim here, which is a bit crazy to me. But CX-30 2.5 Turbo Aire Edition, you get the big power. Okay, you get the 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. If you put the good 93 octane in there. And then the Turbo Premium Plus is still an option. So let's get straight to that spreadsheet. Holy cow. Pricing here. So I've laid it out. Above is the CX-50. So if you missed yesterday's video, definitely watch it. But I just added the CX-30 because I'm going to kind of cross-reference the CX-50 too. CX-30. Base price has gone up $780. Remember, this vehicle is brought in from Mexico, and while it may be compliant with many of the relaxations with the USMCA agreement, it still might be pretty hard with tariffs. All right, so yeah, price increase $780. The Select Sport $810. The preferred actually is $150, but you get a new shiny screen with touchscreen capabilities. The Aire Edition builds off the preferred, right, with black emblems and a light colored interior. Hopefully that is enough to persuade you to get into that Aire Edition. Carbon Edition still exists. I don't know. I guess the Bose sound system is the reason you go for the Carbon at this point. That's my guess. Premium also has the Bose sound system, and it has like the 360 camera. But look, the Carbon Edition went up about $900, and the premium the premium package, not edition. I'm so used to saying edition right now. Premium has a $900 premium versus last year. What is going on? Well, they killed the Carbon Turbo. So the barrier of entry is about $1,300 more to get into the Turbo model, which is weird because look at the CX-50 Turbo, same engine, it got $3,100 cheaper because, well, there was, you know, it started last year with the Turbo Meridian. All right. So you have the CX-50 Turbo at $37,900. That's the entry to the Turbo there. And then the CX-30 is at $34,410. So the old carbon Turbo was kind of a steal if you want to think about it that way. All right. So yeah, I mean, if you compare the Aire to the Premium, and remember, this is interesting. The Aire is built off the Preferred. Okay, so the Premium's going to have better features than the Turbo Aire. But yeah, it's just not apples to apples at this point because the Premium has, you know, the 360 camera, the Bose sound system, and the Aire does not. Just has that nice interior and black emblems and black wheels, whatever. Turbo Premium Plus has gone up $750. Ooh, I just hit the mic. I'm sorry. So why not just get a CX-50 at this point? Yes, the barrier of entry is still significant, about $26,000 versus $30,000, still $4,000 more expensive. But it's so much more roomy and has way more cargo capacity, and fuel economy is going to be the same anyways. And I like the looks of the CX-50 way better because the CX-30 just uses way too much black plastic. So let me know, do you think it's worth a $4,000 price increase to get inside a CX-50 than a CX-30? Remember, the CX-50 also has this little trump card up its sleeve, a little hybrid action brought over from the Toyota end. Okay, and you can get those from about $35,000 to $40,000. They're a little decontented, which drives me crazy compared to, let's say, the turbo models, but it is what it is. So yeah, let's look at deals in my area. Let's look at the lowest price. Remember, the lowest price of the CX-30 on paper starts at for 2025. That started at $25,195. Now it's really, really close to $26,000. All right, at the lowest end, the entry level S, which I honestly don't think it's that great of a buy, but we're seeing $3,000 price drops here. Decent car. I personally would rather have a Nissan Kicks, but this does have a superior powertrain in the regards of performance, but fuel economy, the Kicks would kick this around. Kicks gets easily over 30 miles per gallon. So good performance is just, what do you want? Do you want performance over a more spacious and more fuel efficient vehicle like the Kicks? Well, you have your options here. So again, I think, what was it, the Preferred or the Select Sport seems to be like the best option here. And again, as I went through the press release, I'm like, hey, the Select Sport is probably the best seller. And look, they have the most in stock in my area with the Select Sport, over 200, and then it goes to the Preferred. There are very few carbons, very few turbos, very few turbos. All right, but the Select here, but the Select Sport at $25K, really good buy. Again, remember, it MSRPs, well, last year it started about 27, and then you're going to have some add-ons here, whether it's the distributor or the dealer, I don't know. But these MSRPs are actually quite oh yeah, I'm not adding in destination, that's why. So at $25K, that's about a $3,000 price drop as well. Okay, so should you wait for a 26 model? Absolutely not, if you can get a crazy deal on a 2025. All right, so here's the thing. We're seeing price drops listed out there on the market. $3,000 price drops on average, it looks like. How is Mazda going to raise these prices? The dealer's going to have $4,000 price drops to sell them now. It depends. It all just depends on what the market's willing to spend for these models. They can say MSRP all day long, but after we just had like, hey, Mazda just hit a home run for the most part with the prices on the United States made CX-50, and they're just jacking the prices on the CX-30, largely due to tariffs, right? So it's just, the CX-30 is becoming less and less interesting. Because if we look again at CX-50s in my area, 31,000. Well, that's for the hybrid. That's a fantastic deal for the hybrid. But if we just look at normal CX-50s, look at this. You know, as low as 26,000, $28,000. I would happily buy a better looking, more spacious, and more practical CX-50 over a CX-30. $3,000 less for a CX-30, unless you need it to fit in a really small parking spot or something, it just doesn't make much sense to me. Let me know if you guys agree with my assessment here. These price increases, it's just what's happening in the industry right now, unfortunately. That's why yesterday, overall, it was such a big celebration for Mazda and the CX-50. But CX-50 is the only Mazda vehicle that is made in the United States for this Japanese automaker. All right. Meanwhile, most of the CX-30s are coming in from Mexico, which are getting hit with bigger tariffs oftentimes than vehicles coming in from Japan. Japan's tariff rate is 15%. Mexico, I think, is 25%. Not looking that great for the CX-30. It already, in my opinion, so it's kind of niche-y. In my opinion, it is too small. It's too cheap looking on the outside, and they haven't refreshed it to fix all the black plastic bezels at the bottom of the vehicle. It's not fuel efficient enough for its class, and it's priced maybe a little bit too close to the superior CX-5 and CX-50. Now, I mentioned CX-5. Again, we forget about this vehicle because it's getting redesigned, but don't sleep. The CX-5, I would take over a CX-50 personally. Just depends on pricing, honestly, and your personal taste. I have more headroom in the CX-5. But look, you can get, guys, so that's a leftover. That's not, car's not real. But 27, 28K for an entry-level CX-5, I would take that all day long over a CX-30. All right, so yeah, CX-5, CX-50, much better buy than the CX-30. This vehicle, MSRP is at 2026 now, plus 1,500 in destination. I don't know. It's not looking good. Maybe I'll review it again. Mazda said, hey, we'll get these cars to you very soon in the press fleet in Miami, and hopefully I can drive the 26 CX-50 and the 26 CX-30, especially the Aire Edition. Maybe the Aire Edition persuades me, but this is not what I want to see. But this is just a reality of tariffs, right? And manufacturers having to jack up prices. So I'll shut it down there. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more auto news updates. While you're watching this, I'm currently on a plane to the West Coast to drive the new competitor to this vehicle, the newly refreshed Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid. In the meantime, if you want to watch my walk around on the Corolla Cross Hybrid or my review on the CX-30 Turbo, I should say, that I drove earlier this year, you can click both of those videos around my face. Have a great day, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.